My name is Summer. I am Donna Michelle Barnhill's cousin, and I'm also part of the Shatter Their Silence team. I just wanted to kind of sit down and explain who I am and what led me on the journey of trying to find out what happened to my cousin, Donna Barnhill. So I was only 8 months old in March of 1981 when Donna was reported missing. So I don't really remember anything about that day, of course. I've tried to kind of sit back and think about the first time that I had heard about her disappearance and murder, but I really couldn't because it just seems like I've always known it. It was never really a secret. You just didn't talk about it, around certain people. So the earliest memory, I guess, that I have would be I was at my grandma's house and she just made me lunch and I had sat down at the coffee table and pulled up this little bucket seat that she had. And her sister Connie had come to visit her that day. So I'm really nosy when I was a kid. And part of me is listening to cartoons. And the other part is like zoned in on what they're saying in the kitchen. And I overheard them talking about how Donna was murdered and how her dad had done it and then hid her body after to cover it up. Well, like when you're a kid and you hear of another kid being murdered, it just really, really sticks with you. So over the years, we had kind of talked about it and it just never left me. I always had questions. And so then we go to 1996 and I am living in South Carolina. We had just moved there. And at that point, like I said, over the years, it had just stayed with me so much. So me and my mom sit down and we talked about it. And that's when we decided just to call Lexington Police Department. The detective at the time was Angie Pierce. When we mentioned Donna's case and how she had an older sister who was killed, she didn't even know who Anita was. So what we did is we sit down and we kind of told her everything. We thought we would hear back. Somebody would have questions. There was nothing. It was crickets. The next big thing I guess that happened would be 1999. My grandma receives this letter from, it's her nephew, but it would be Donna's uncle. And in that letter, it talks about how Joanne Jean's wife had told him that Hubert had killed Donna and he had buried her body in a possible location. So once me and Grandma talked about it, it was a short time after that she gave me the letter and she told me that I could have it and to use it for whatever I wanted. Try to find Donna if it could help. I was more than welcome to it. So that day I sat down, I made her a promise that I would take that letter and I would do everything I could to find Donna. And I have. I held on to that letter for 20 years. The police department knew of the letter, but I held on to it for 20 years before I gave it to him because honestly, I was scared to death of losing it. But now they have it. And over the years, we've worked with different organizations. They've conducted searches, and for the most part, they've been pretty helpful. We as a family in the Shatter Their Silence team, though, we feel as though no one can tell her story like we can. It's Donna's story, and we're just telling it because she can't. And Hubert made sure of that. She existed, and so many people had answers, and they refused to talk. There are still people out there that can tell us information that will lead us to the recovery of Donna. And hopefully, this gets to them, and there's enough pressure that they will finally give us the answers that we need to lay her to rest the way that she deserves. It's been so many years, and it's time that the secrets just come out. And that's what this documentary is all about.